Did you know the last founding father to serve as president was not born into wealth and prominence? Yes, that's right. Our fifth president, James Monroe, hailed from humble beginnings. Born in Westmoreland County, Virginia, on April 28, 1758, Monroe was the son of a modest planter and could hardly be called a child of privilege. At a tender age of 16, Monroe faced the harsh realities of life when both his parents passed away, leaving him and his siblings orphaned. It was his uncle, Joseph Jones, a well-respected judge, who took them under his wing, ensuring they received a good education. Monroe's education wasn't just confined to classrooms and books. He attended the College of William and Mary, but his studies were interrupted by the call of duty. The Revolutionary War was in full swing, and Monroe, barely out of his teens, joined the Continental Army. His military career was marked by courage and heroism. Monroe fought under General George Washington and was severely wounded in the Battle of Trenton, where he led a daring charge against the Hessian artillery, a story of bravery that would echo through the ages. After the war, Monroe ventured into law, studying under another future president, Thomas Jefferson. His legal career was short-lived, as he was soon drawn into the world of politics. It was here that he began to make a name for himself, serving in the Continental Congress and later as governor of Virginia. Monroe's political career was a testament to his resilience and determination. His experiences, from his modest upbringing to his heroic exploits in the Revolutionary War, shaped him into a leader that was both compassionate and courageous. His journey, filled with trials and triumphs, set him on a path that would eventually lead him to the highest office in the land. Monroe, rising from humble beginnings, was set on a trajectory that would lead him to the White House. And as we'll see in the next few scenes, his presidency was marked by bold decisions and enduring doctrines that would shape the course of our nation. From soldier to statesman, James Monroe's path to presidency was anything but ordinary. A narrative as complex as the man himself, Monroe's political career began long before he took on the mantle of the nation's highest office. Monroe first made his mark as a senator from Virginia, where he advocated for the rights of Western territories and navigated the intricate world of early American politics. His time in the Senate was characterized by a steadfast commitment to balancing the interests of his home state with those of an expanding nation. But his political journey didn't stop there. Monroe also served as the governor of Virginia, providing stable leadership during a time of rapid change. His tenure as governor was marked by his dedication to public service and his unwavering belief in the power of the people. Before ascending to the presidency, Monroe held the role of Secretary of State, where he navigated the turbulent waters of international relations. His time in this role was instrumental in shaping his global perspective, which would later influence his presidency and the creation of the Monroe Doctrine. When Monroe took the presidential oath in 1817, he did so with a vision of unity and prosperity. His presidency, often referred to as the era of good feelings, was a time of relative political harmony. Monroe worked tirelessly to maintain national unity, striving to balance the competing interests of various states and regions. Monroe's presidency was not without its challenges, however. From economic fluctuations to territorial disputes, Monroe faced a range of issues that tested his leadership. Despite these obstacles, Monroe remained steadfast, guided by his conviction that a united nation was a strong nation. As we delve deeper into Monroe's presidency, we come to understand the man behind the title. A leader who believed in the power of unity and the potential of a growing nation. He was a president who led with conviction and left behind a legacy that continues to shape American history. Monroe's presidency, marked by a desire for unity, set the stage for one of his most significant contributions, the Monroe Doctrine. Can you imagine a policy that warns European powers not to interfere in the Americas? Well, such a policy did exist, and it was known as the Monroe Doctrine. Named after the very man we're discussing, President James Monroe, this doctrine was a defining moment in American diplomatic history. Picture this. The year is 1823, and the world is a vastly different place. The United States, a young, burgeoning nation, is watching with keen interest as Latin American nations throw off the yoke of European colonial rule. Monroe and his administration perceive a chance to assert American influence and protect these newly independent nations. And so, the Monroe Doctrine was born. In essence, it was a clear, bold message to Europe. The Americas are off limits for any future colonization or puppet monarchs. It was a daring move, a political gauntlet thrown at the feet of the old world powers, and it worked. It set the tone for a new era of American foreign policy, one where the United States would actively protect its interests and those of its neighbors. But why make such a bold assertion? The purpose was twofold. First, it was a response to European colonial ambitions. The United States was acutely aware of the strategic implications if Europe were to regain a foothold in the Americas. Second, it sought to protect the newly independent Latin American nations from any potential European interference. The United States, having fought for its own independence not so long ago, felt a kinship with these nations and a duty to safeguard their sovereignty. The Monroe Doctrine was a statement of intent, a declaration of non-colonial internationalism, and a signal of the United States' growing confidence on the global stage. It was the country's first major step towards becoming a world power. The Monroe Doctrine, a bold assertion of American influence, remains a significant aspect of US foreign policy even today. It was a testament to the vision and courage of James Monroe, the 6th President of the United States. A man who dared to look beyond the horizon and envision a future where the United States would hold its own among the world's great powers. So, Monroe was more than just the Monroe Doctrine, right? Absolutely. While the doctrine is his most famous contribution, James Monroe's presidency was marked by a series of significant accomplishments that shaped the course of American history. Firstly, let's talk about Florida. Back in the early 19th century, Florida was a Spanish territory. But Monroe, with some savvy diplomacy and a bit of muscle flexing, managed to acquire it for the United States in 1821. This acquisition not only expanded American territory, but also resolved long-standing boundary disputes with Spain. Then, there's the Missouri Compromise. In 1820, a heated debate raged over whether Missouri should be admitted to the Union as a slave state or a free state. Monroe was instrumental in brokering the Missouri Compromise, which maintained a delicate balance between slave and free states, averting a possible crisis and keeping the Union intact. Monroe was also a great advocate for westward expansion. He believed in the idea of manifest destiny, the belief that the United States was destined to expand across the continent. Under his leadership, the American frontier moved steadily westward, paving the way for future states. And what about life after the presidency? Monroe retired to his Virginia plantation, where he lived a quiet life. But he wasn't entirely out of the public eye. He served as the president of the Virginia Constitutional Convention in 1829, and even in retirement, he remained a respected figure in American politics. Sadly, Monroe passed away on July 4, 1831, exactly 5 years after his fellow founding fathers Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. His passing marked the end of the revolutionary generation in American leadership. From his humble beginnings to his influential presidency, Monroe's impact on America is undeniable. His doctrine may be his most well-known legacy, but as we've seen, it was far from his only contribution. Whether it was through territorial acquisition, compromise, or expansion, Monroe's presidency played a pivotal role in shaping the America we know today. How about some lesser-known facts about Monroe to spice things up? Let's delve into the quirkier side of our 6th president. Did you know that Monroe was the last US president to dress in the old-style powdered wig and breeches? He had a keen sense of style that harkened back to the days of the founding fathers. In addition to his unique fashion sense, Monroe was also the last president who was a founding father of the United States, and the last president from the Virginia dynasty. Quite the end of an era, wouldn't you say? Another interesting fact is that he was the 3rd president to die on the 4th of July, following Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, who both died on that date in 1826. Monroe passed away just 5 years later in 1831. Now let's take a quick journey back through the highlights of this video. We delved into the surprising origins of James Monroe, exploring his humble beginnings and the path that led him to the presidency. From a young soldier in the Revolutionary War to the highest office in the land, Monroe's life was a testament to the possibilities of the American dream. We talked about his presidency, a period of relative peace and prosperity known as the Era of Good Feelings. Monroe's leadership was marked by his ability to unify a nation still finding its footing in the world. Then we dove into the Monroe Doctrine, a bold assertion of American power that has shaped international relations to this day. Monroe declared that the Western Hemisphere was off-limits to European colonization, a statement that firmly established the United States as a global power. Finally, we looked at Monroe's other accomplishments, including his role in acquiring Florida from Spain and his efforts to end the international slave trade. Monroe, an embodiment of the American dream, left an indelible mark on American history, proving that a humble beginning is no barrier to greatness.